Welcome back to Study Chess with me. I've been on a long hiatus, for which I apologize to those who enjoyed the series. I was taking care of a very sick family member, and unfortunately, it required all of my time, and I must say it also took a toll also on motivation. Nevertheless, that period has passed, and I'm back on track, here to achieve my goals and hopefully help you achieve your goals following the road with me. A friend has actually helped try to keep this alive by actually making a bet with me on whether or not my goal was achievable or not. We'll find out. So, what are the goals? I am trying to become a FIDE master. So, 2300 FIDE rating is the first goal. And if anything is possible beyond that, if that goal is even achievable, we'll find out. So, in my favor, very quickly, I am rated 2149. And my um, belief in the achievability of this goal is absolutely unflinching. I absolutely believe it's possible. So that's good. Even if it's delusional, you'd have to have a kind of belief like that to achieve any goal. So it doesn't really matter. Against me, I'm rated 2149. Now that sounds really strange because I just used that as a positive. It's a negative because that 2149 rating, to be completely honest, is based on my last competitive games, which are over a decade old. Yeah, which means that, like anybody who realistically is going to look at their ratings, if they haven't been active in 10 years, chances are that rating is no longer valid. So, yeah. Still, it did represent, let's say, where I was at that point. So I'll consider that as a positive as well. Against me, probably more heavily, is the fact that I am no longer 20 years old. I am over 50. Yeah. If I don't look at, then great. And if I do look at, don't tell me. Okay, so nevertheless, the idea here of these videos is to show you me studying with my own study plan and how I purport to achieve that goal. And you are invited to join me on my quest, either just following me and studying the material with me. I will be completely transparent, sharing the material that I'm using, as well as if you're in a different level and just want somebody to study with, a study buddy, then put on the video in the background, study your own stuff, and we'll be studying together. So I've been studying, let's say, obviously, middle game. So I have tactics, I have strategy, and of course, endgame. In earlier videos, I had tried to put this all in a single session, and it was leading me to enormously long videos, which probably were kind of difficult to digest for anybody trying to watch them. So I'm going to break this down. This is going to be a tactics session, and I'm going to be using one of the tactics sites. I ran a video very recently. I encourage you to look it up. Basically, I rotate between chess.com, ChessBase Premium, and Lichess. I find that they all have their strengths and weaknesses, of course, but mostly they all have the same basic set of tools, which is a lot of positions to study, and that will calibrate according to your tactical strength. So we'll be going to chess.com here in this particular video. My rating in chess.com, my tactics rating, is roughly 3,300. This is my true tactical rating. And I say this because I looked up the leaderboard where some guys were rated 65,000. And I thought, my gosh, it must be Nakamura running that crazy rating. And no, it was a 1,300 and 1,100 and whatever. And yeah, suffice it to say, I don't know what their interest in creating these ridiculous and completely false ratings is, whether it's delusional or whatever. But yeah, so keep that in mind when you see some of these ratings that you see. Nevertheless, mine is the true rating, if you want to call it that. And it doesn't mean anything about my actual online strength in playing. It just has to do with my ability to solve puzzles, which right now is 3,300. Okay, so let's get right to it. So let's take a look at this puzzle here and see what we've got. All right, I think I have the solution. We'll see. I spent some time because there are a lot of different interesting ideas here. I think the obvious move is pawn takes knight. I haven't looked yet. And because of the attack on the queen as well as the back rank threat, it's queen d2. And then the question was, how do I follow up? I had a bunch of different ideas, including rook e2 first, which could be right. But I think the solution is after pawn takes f3, queen d2, queen g6, threatening mate, of course, on g2 because of the pawn. There's no rook g5 because of queen takes, and of course, then there is mate on the back rank. So g3, only move. And then the solution, I believe, is queen e6. I'm threatening two mates, actually. I'm threatening queen takes e1 simply. And of course, I'm attacking queen takes e6. And let's say he plays any move, it doesn't really matter much to defend himself. And then I have queen h3 with the pawn on g3 and f3, and I think that's enough. I don't think there's a defense against that. So that's the idea. Fair enough. G5, G4. What's the saying again? Um, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. I didn't predict G4 at all. I'm glad it's not wrong. Otherwise, it would have already told me I was off balance. But now I have to take a look and see how the continuation goes. Even if I get all the points here, I'm going to count that as a semi failure. I should have predicted that kind of option. Is what it is. So I think it's still queen e6. My idea here is queen e6, rook d1, obviously protecting against the back rank, and of course the rook at the same time. And then I'm going to play rook c8. And I think the piece is going to be overloaded. I don't see how he can keep the rook here as well. I'm attacking it twice, as well as g4 with the mate. We'll see if I... Okay. Good one. Next. And the puzzle rating is 3289. For what it's worth, I found puzzles that were much harder, rated lower. There was this crazy difficult endgame study by Kubel, or Kubel. I really, really, really struggled on that one, and I did not succeed for what it's worth. I also found, incredibly, a mate in one rated 3100. I don't think there's such a thing as a mate in one that's so hard that you need to be 3000 to rate it to find it. Anyway, maybe I'm missing something completely stupid, but I can't see why I can't take the bishop. I figured it was perfectly fine instead of bishop takes e5 directly. Apparently, it's weaker. Okay, let's just take a look. Let's see what it tells me. Not a big surprise. So what happens if I do this? Rook a6. Wow. Can't argue with that. Okay. Well, I only lost 1 point, but would have been nice to not lose any. And so be it. Right. Well, I think it's queen f1 check, king h2, rook e2, queen d3 check, f5, queen g3 to protect against mate, rook e1, queen f3, queen g1 check, king g3, rook e3. That's what I see in any case. Let's see. Okay, I got it right. Looks pretty simple. F4, or no, sorry. Yeah, inverted the directions here. C5 check, king g4, queen g6, and it doesn't matter king f3 or queen h or king h3, and it's queen h5 mate. I don't really see any obvious challenges to simply bishop f7 and push the pawn g forward, covering a square so the black bishop can't come to cover or protect it. And yeah, you can play b2, but so what? Queen h5, king e7, bishop a3, c5, take on d5. I'm just not sure with which piece. You play on king, knight takes d5. And if king e6, knight c7 looks really strong. Maybe king d8. Not best. Okay. So queen takes d5 then. Why is winning here, but how on earth did he get in that situation? Wow. Just wow. It's the switch influence that caused the biggest trouble here. Yeah. I can't see why I can't take on g4. So let's just do it. Is this supposed to be mate? think the difficulty here is not so much the move itself, but the moves that are so tempting. I've been analyzing a lot of lines with H3 pushing here and trying to take advantage of it, but they all seem to lead to black's downfall. For example, H3, pawn takes F6, pawn takes G2, why not? King H2, and then what? If you actually play something like Bishop E5, maybe hoping for a perpetual, I don't know, something, you get mated. Bishop G7 mate. Oops. Because queen takes, pawn takes, Bishop G7 mate. And there are a lot of themes on that lines. But I think the winning move is actually the simple knight E4, threatening the double attack. You also block off all of the back rank mates which are being threatened by white. I don't see any defense. So that's my move. Six in a row. We're on a run. And yeah, I'm trying to keep this session, at least for myself, down to about an hour. And according to my recording software, there's actually a function. I should probably enable it here in chess.com that'll keep track of the time spent. I've spent 54 minutes in this particular study session. So let's do one more, at the very least. And you can see I take time, but that's the only way to train. So the simple queen g3 doesn't work because of queen g4, as far as I can tell. I can pick up maybe a pawn, but yeah, I don't think that's the line. I think it's just rook takes. Wow. And I blundered. Okay. So let's see what's up. Like a move. Okay. And it is queen g3. Wow. I missed the obvious. Wow. Okay. So I'll just share it with you. Uh, oh, well. Queen g4. I actually saw this, but I didn't see the continuation. I missed the completely obvious. Wow. Just wow. Oh dear. Yeah. Okay. Next. Wait, so what was the refutation? Just out of curiosity. King takes g2. Sure. Rook check, obviously. King f1, queen h2. That much I saw, obviously. Wasn't hard to see that. Then what? Oh, he gives up the queen. Wow. I'm better, but yeah, it's going to be a long battle. Nice. So, yeah, I take the queen. He gets his two pieces. And while black is ahead, according to the engine, minus 130, it's going to be a long battle. And probably, yeah, it could be winning, but it's going to be really tough. Okay. Well, wasn't that bad. Besides, hard to predict queen b8. That's nice. Engine's tough. All right, let's get one more down. Damn. I think this is just king takes and move the pawn. One of these days. Yeah. I As you can see, ehare humanum est. To err is human, and to err this many times is even more human, or more me. Ah, it's life. Okay, well, I had the idea. Next one. Okay, I think I got this one. So, knight g4, obviously threatening mate on f2. Bishop takes f5, king takes f5, e4 check. And sure, I can play king g6, but the point of e4 is not so much to just throw in random checks, so much as to be able to play queen b6, protecting f2. But that's where things get tricky, because then I have queen b1 check, king g2, queen takes e4 check, and then I have queen takes a8. I think that's the key to it. Even if he plays f3, the pawn is pinned, so it doesn't matter. And I think I'm going to wrap up my tactics study session with this last position. And I hope you've enjoyed it. And I encourage you to join me in my next study session, which will not be on tactics, but will actually be on positional play. I will be returning to the great books of Ludek Pachman, which I usually have to prepare with PGN so that I can follow them on the board. And you're invited to join me.